This is TJ Legacy, host of the Soapboxx Podcast. The live stream will start shortly, but make sure you like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and tell all of your friends and family that the most infamous podcast on all your streaming services is about to go live.
TJ, what's goody? It's HB. Can I just big you up real quick with what you're doing with the Soapboxx? Listen, anytime somebody takes their platform to educate and inform the culture of hip-hop with politics, pop culture, doing what you're doing and being responsible with your platform, I can't do nothing but salute you, TJ. Keep doing what it do. Keep repping for the culture. Nothing but love and respect for me, baby. Peace.
Tell me what's really good. It's Peter Rosenberg, Hot 97, ESPN, WWE, Cheap Heat Podcast, all that. Big shout out to my peoples over at the Soapboxx, all right? My man TJ, Legacy Cole, the whole Soapboxx crew. Incredible new podcast, all right? Politics, pop culture, hip-hop, even wrestling on occasion. It's all there. So go subscribe and make sure you tune in to the Soapboxx. TJ, what up, man? Appreciate you.
Peace to the planet. Charlemagne the God here. What's happening, TJ Legacy Cole? Salute to you, King. Salute to the Soapboxx Podcast. The Soapboxx Podcast is an independent black media podcast, and they talk hip-hop, politics, pop culture, mental health, social justice, a lot of my favorite subjects. Check them out, man. Tune in, subscribe to them. You never know. I'm out here looking at all the different podcasts that are moving and shaking out here, because, you know, I got the Black Effect Podcast Network, so I'm going to be checking y'all out, TJ. All right? Keep working.
What makes them mad about it is that they have black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire best, we think you fight fire with water best. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reactions with all of us people to get together and have an international proletarian revolution. Right on. And that's saying all power to the people. That's saying that no matter what color you are, you're just only two classes. And that's saying there's a class over here and there's a class over there. And the reason that this class over here has never did anything to get this class off its back, because this is lower, this is upper. This is the oppressed, this is the oppressor. This is the exploited, this is the exploiter. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fighting amongst each other. And you've heard the testimony of pigs here. You got pigs of all colors, you know that. You got pigs that are white, you got pigs that are black, you even got pigs that are black and white. Propagating the same type of madness that this buffoon Hanrahan would be propagating if he were here himself. And why? Because they want to keep you to believing that I'm your enemy, and that everybody else that's black and that wears a lot of hair on his head and hair on his face, they want to keep you thinking that he's your enemy. Why? Because if ever you would disregard him and overlook him just for a minute and throw away that question of racism and start dealing with a little logic, then there would be no one else you could attack other than Hanrahan, other than Davey, and other than Tricky Dicky Nixon. If you make the right decision, then the oppressed people of the world can get complete satisfaction. I know you return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
You are beautiful on the inside. You are innocence personified. And I will drag you down and sell you out. Run away. I am cold like December snow. I have carved out the soul made of stone, and I will drag you down and sell you out. Embraced by the darkness, I'm losing the light. Encircled by demons, I fight. What have I become now that I've betrayed everyone I've ever loved? I push them all away, and I have been a slave to the Judas in my mind. Is it there's something left for me to save in the wreckage of my life. I become a. Judas in my mind. I become a. Judas in my mind.
Yes. Welcome back. Did you miss me? Hey, welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Legacy, and I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be engaged with Soapboxx Nation, but I am not alone. I am with the best co-host any podcast could ever ask for. I'm here with my co-host, starting with the lady all the way from Tallahassee, Florida, reporter extraordinaire, journalist, self-love motivator, Javonni Hampton. How you doing? Javonni, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey y'all. Definitely happy to be here. I guess we could say be back and live in effect on the Soapboxx.
That's what's up. Oh, and we got my man 50 grand all the way from NYC. What's good, man? Alan York, what's good?
Good evening, my good people. It's good to see y'all, man. How y'all feeling?
Yeah, we good. We back. Hey, welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. I know we've been a little away, so we are revved up, ready to go. In today's episode, we are talking about the Judas Effect. As everybody knows, it's Black History Month, and we've had an epic, well, not epic, but we had a movie come out, Judas and the Black Messiah, talking about Fred Hampton and the FBI informant. We will get to that in our reviews and what we thought about the movie, or what I thought about the movie. I want to share some takes with y'all. But first, I wanted to let everybody know we are missing someone, and that's because we, ladies and gentlemen, are on baby alert. We are on baby alert because Jesse is not here. She was going to be on the podcast, but she said that, hey, she had to go to the doctor, so we don't have a live exclusive yet, but we are on baby alert here on the Soapboxx Podcast. Javonni, do you have any advice for Jesse? I mean, she has kids, but do you have any advice for Jesse in this living room during these tense moments? Or do you have any advice for us? Because we are Soapboxx parents, and this is the Soapboxx child that was cultivated after our Valentine's Day episode. So we are somewhat responsible, because she must have got so hopped up with all the good energy that we were given that it made her pregnant. And so this is a Soapboxx baby. So any advice that you have for her?
Yeah, definitely. My advice would be to not eat if you think you're about to go into labor.
Why is that?
I heard about that.
Why is that?
Well, because when you're pushing so hard, not all muscles are strong enough to contain everything that comes out.
Ooh, so
what goes up must come down.
So she can have a little accident. Okay. All right. That's something that we either didn't need to know or did need to know. I guess for the fathers out there, fathers to be, you got to know.
I mean,
you got to know these things.
Is it like, I guess I wouldn't jump the broom and say that we're godparents, so we can say that we are podcast parents.
Love it.
The new baby coming. You know what I'm saying?
Parents. Pod parents, yes. We were the elixir that made this baby even possible. We're taking full responsibility because of our Valentine's Day show. And you guys can check out that Valentine's Day show and on our streaming services, and follow us on Instagram, Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. That's Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. And listen, y'all, as we stated, it is Black History Month. The Black History is 365, 366 on a leap year. Black history is being made every day. The fact that we are on this podcast where you have 4 millennial, young, Black, freelance journalists talking pop culture, politics, bullshit, and all sorts of relationships, self-love, all sorts of things that we can talk about. The versatility on this podcast, if we can kind of give ourselves a pat on the back, is endless
Purpose.
here on this podcast. But during Black History Month, we did get a gift, and that gift is Rush Limbaugh, ladies and gentlemen. Rush Limbaugh, the conservative icon, has passed away, and he has been spewing all sorts of racist rhetoric for decades. Rush Limbaugh is no longer with us. Listen, I want to be sure. I'm not making light of the fact that someone has had cancer. All right? Cancer is a very serious situation, and I hope anyone who is fighting cancer, I hope they get well soon and they're around family and loved ones, okay? And you will beat cancer because cancer sucks. However, if you are a bigot, I don't give a damn. He suffered, and the ancestors made sure that he crossed over into hell on Black History Month. So we salute you, Rush Limbaugh. We have nothing. I don't have anything good to say about you at all. And good riddance. So does anybody else have any parting words for Rush Limbaugh, or did I cover everything?
I saw an interesting quote, and if you can give me a couple of seconds to find it here. Long story short, the quote said, I saw that Rush Limbaugh died, and may whatever he put into this life meet him in the next life. Amen. And I thought that was an interesting way to put it, because if you inherently believe that he's a good person, then you shouldn't have a problem with that, and then with the vice versa. So, yeah, I thought that was an applicable quote. Whatever he put out in this universe, in this life, let the Lord greet him in the next.
Well, I think it's very fitting, because when you are a white supremacist mouthpiece for decades, this guy has been the catalyst for anti-Black racism in media and codified anti-Black racism. This guy has justified the killings of numerous unarmed Black people and being harmed by law enforcement or just white supremacist vigilantes. So the fact that he is gone, and he did have cancer for a while, the fact that he's gone and I'd like to think that he suffered, and that he's gone during Black History Month, that's just the universe balancing itself out. And somewhere the African drums do I hear drums? The African drums are beating. That was my cue for Noble. That was my Noble cue. But anyway, hey.
That's somebody daddy though.
Who? I will never, that's just my stance. I will never, ever shed a tear or feel any sort of grief for a white supremacist no longer being on this earth. I don't have that sort of heart. Jesus is probably still working on me, so I don't have any space for that. So we will move on to celebrity selfie. How about that? And Alan, hit us with celebrity selfie. What is our first story?
Celebrity selfie. We actually gonna start off on some somber news. Speaking of,
now this is a sad story. Yes.
Yeah, speaking of someone being someone's father, we just want to give a soapbox rest in peace to Nicki Minaj's father. Unfortunately, he passed away due to a hit and run incident a couple of days ago. The gentleman did turn himself in, but nonetheless, when things like this happen, it's more so about the loss of life at hand. So, prayers out to the whole Mirage family, and just a sad story. You never want to hear about someone losing their other half, especially in a tragic incident like this that's unexpected. So, just rest in peace to Miss Mirage, and prayers out to Nicki and her whole family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely sad, but I am relieved that the guy did actually turn himself in. So hopefully there is some sort of accountability. I know someone in my family was hit by a drunk driver head on who was driving on the side of the road. Luckily, she survived, but it's never a good thing. So I'm at least glad that this person didn't just run, but they turned themselves in. So hopefully the family can begin to heal in this tragic time. Since Jesse is not here, I guess I will be filling in, right? Or Javonni, you want to, or I'll do it. Okay, great.
The versatility.
The versatility here on the Soapboxx Podcast. All right, so the Best Man Holiday, as you know, you had the Best Man cast and the Best Man Holiday cast, two very successful movies. I know everybody highly anticipated the trilogy of the Best Man Holiday after the movie came out, and it was actually really well receptive. I think the movie came out in 2013, I believe. Well, for people who are a fan of that movie or that cast, they are signing a deal with Peacock to have a series, the Best Man series called The Final Chapter. So are we in or out on this series of them having a series? What do you think, Javonni? You excited for a Best Man series?
Oh yeah. I am looking forward to the relationship talks and the Best Man and the Best Man Holiday, both of those were emotional. It was a roller coaster, affectionate, loving. So the only thing that I don't want to happen is I don't want it to be like lame comedy in there, because if it's a series, I know it's just not going to be constant sadness or constant like people arguing. So I just got to really, really understand like what is going to be the concept after this, because the movies were enough. Yeah. But I think they're going to really try to put some comedy in there. So I hope it's not corny.
Yeah, I hope, you know what it is? I hope that they stay true to what the films were and not try to put these suspect hidden agenda, themes in the movie where people are like, wait a minute, this isn't really what the Best Man Holiday was. And I'm actually excited to see Terrence Howard back as an actor, because he said he was retired. So if he does indeed come back, Terrence Howard coming back with the 4-5 on like Jordan, and coming back into acting, I guess check money talks. So he said I'm tired of sitting at home. This paper needs to come back in. So so I'm excited about it. I don't have Peacock, but the Peacock is doing big things because Peacock actually NBC bought the WWE Network. So now we used to have the WWE Network streaming service. So now WWE Network is going to be on Peacock. So I may end up getting the streaming service unless I date someone who has a Peacock account, and then I will then have a Peacock account, because that's just how it works.
PEMDAS.
I really am excited to see the story of how Lance's story is going to turn out. Wait.
No spoiler alerts, because I haven't seen the Best Man 1 or 2 yet. But
no, we don't give a damn. I'm sorry, we don't give a damn.
Now, come on.
Go ahead, Javonni. We don't give a damn. I said this movie came out in 2013. It is 2021. Right. Nobody has any time.
It's on HBO Max. I just bought that this weekend, so I can do my research.
Do it.
Yeah. What's the all right? Let's ask you this. What's the What's the Soapboxx? The first one came out in the 90s.
That's crazy, Alan. Come on.
What's the? Have
you ever seen What Love Got to Do with It?
Who, with Nick Cannon?
No. Wait a minute.
What Love Got to Do? You talking about what?
Tina
Turner.
Yeah, the Tina Turner movie. Have you seen that?
As a local youth, I'm sure.
Have you seen how Stella got her groove back?
I've never seen that movie.
Yes, a while ago as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never seen Stella got her groove back.
I've never seen Boys in the Hood.
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Come on.
He was naming chick flicks before. Come on. Now.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, what am I gonna be like? Yo, fellas, y'all want to toss in that Stella Got a Groove bag? I know we just all here chilling. Like that's not even a good dating movie.
Okay, so you seen How to Be a Player?
Of
course.
Oh, okay. So you're not.
Notice a theme here.
Oh, okay.
Yes. All the toxic misogynist movies in our culture. Yes,
Funny.
we have seen it, and we have. Oh, the next one we have a clip. Aaron, we want to do this one? Celebrity selfie.
Okay, so do I want to do this? I feel like do I want to do this is a very trick question.
This topic is actually there for you to agitate you because I knew you would have something negative to say. But let's just do what we are here to do, ladies and gentlemen. Celebrity selfie. Come on. Be a team player. Versatility. Let's go.
Okay. So someone's talking about Lori Harvey again, and we have a clip of it.
That's all y'all get today, Soapbox Nation. Here's
sorry.
So Boosie is talking about Lori Harvey and the fact that she has her body count, and here is the clip of Boosie's commentary.
I wake up to all these Lori Harvey fans on my how about I'm hating on Lori. What I won't hate on Lori for? I just said y'all got it up saying that's gold. If you saying that's gold, that means you want your daughter to 7 or 8, 9 in a couple months in the industry. If that's gold, if that's cool with you for your daughter doing that, then I can't say. But what's wrong with y'all is y'all salute the woman who get passed around, but y'all dog the woman who stick by they when they over. Y'all dog the real who stick by they. You heard me? But y'all salute the who go from hand to hand. The world up, but the woman who stick by her, found her one celebrity and stick by that, she's stupid. The world up.
Javonni,
Oh my
Javonni, please. No, Alan. Javonni, please. What are your thoughts? Should a woman's body count matter in a relationship? Hold on. Should your partner's body count matter?
Lord have mercy. I'm sorry.
I would prefer the guy's opinion, so it can kind of go along with what Boosie is saying a little bit. I don't want to lose what he said.
Alan.
I need to think about it a little bit more.
Oh no, I wanted your first reaction of what Boosie said.
Oh, my first reaction is I agree with him that he wasn't saying that she was a hoe or anything or whatever. I agree with that statement. I think he was just really speaking his mind. Like, I don't understand why I'm not.
To be fair, to provide context to the audience, because we didn't really see or hear what he was responding to.
Yeah. So can we? That's why I was like, I need a little bit more information.
Well, that was what Alan was supposed to do. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soapbox Podcast. We're working out the kinks on our first show.
I want me out there.
Listen,
I don't follow Lori Harvey like that.
Boosie, people were talking about that Lori Harvey is goals because of the way Michael B. Jordan rented out an aquarium because she likes turtles. On Valentine's Day, he rented out an aquarium, and there was dinner and candles and all this other romantic stuff. And everybody kept saying goals. And then Boosie chimed in and was like, listen, that's not goals. She's been with 7 or 8 dudes in the industry. That's not goals. So no dude wants a woman who's been with 7 or 8 dudes in the damn industry. She's not goals. And so then people started dragging Boosie, and that's what he was responding.
He talking about, I ain't hating on Lori Harvey. What the? So yes, going back to what I was saying. No, I do not see Boosie hating on Lori Harvey. He put his mouth where it probably wasn't welcome. Yes. I feel like I wouldn't necessarily say that Lori Harvey is goals, and I don't know if when we do that hashtag goals, are we really referring to that person or the situation? Now, maybe the situation is a goal because you do want a man that is, you would appreciate a man who has the finances to do something like that and actually uses his money to do something like that. So, I mean, him renting out the aquarium and actually taking the time out to spend time with her, yeah, that is a goal. Like that, why would that not be a goal for a woman? But as far as Lori Harvey being the goal herself because she's been with multiple men, I don't know if that's a goal. What I will give Lori Harvey kudos is that she doesn't care that if she's with somebody and it's not what she wants, she understands that she can leave and she can be with something different or better or more suiting. And I feel like that is what we as people, we struggle with because we think we're going to be judged or let me not post my boyfriend yet just in case we break up next week. Lori Harvey, like, it don't matter because I'm testing the water. Like, I'm a human being. And if I talk to this person, y'all find out about it. Oh, well, I don't have to be strictly tied to one person just because if you date more than one person in a year, all of a sudden you're a hoe. She don't follow that guideline. And so, yeah, kudos to her.
She's like 20 something. So she's doing
she's young.
She's gorgeous. She's a debutante or celebrity, whatever, you know. So she's doing what they do. Like I said before in a past episode, I see nothing wrong with what she's doing. Yes, if she's promiscuous, whatever. But my question was after this, because it really wasn't about Lori Harvey. It was really because we got to understand there's levels to this. There are certain things that Lori Harvey can get away with that regular women who can't get away with. And it's just the nature of the beast. There's certain things that okay, I'll put it this way. There's certain things there's certain things, right, that Michael B. Jordan can get away with that TJ Legacy Cole can't get away with, right? So he can go out and date and be as promiscuous or selective or whatever as possible, but people may turn their thumb up if I had an opinion about a whole bunch of women's appearances and preferences and all that. That's what I'm talking about.
TJ, what is Lori Harvey getting away with? Please.
Listen, we gotta stop. Look, allegedly, people are saying that this relationship is not even authentic in the first place, right? So she's dating around different dudes. So in the industry, so that's what she
getting away with.
What?
It's so like.
What is getting away?
She doesn't get she does not get it. She doesn't get the stigma of sleeping with multiple dudes in the industry.
Well,
we've been talking about this woman for a month for no reason.
No, it's not me. This is what the internets want to hear about this story. It was trending.
I know. So how is she getting away with it if every time
she's not
does anything?
What I mean is she's not, because the thing is exactly what Javonni said. If she became single, guess what? Somebody else is going to wife her and nobody's going to give a damn about who she slept with in the past because she's Lori Harvey. If it was Jane Smith, they may care if she's been passed around like a blunt.
TJ.
Well, I don't think so. TJ. I think it's the same. Because remember when Chris Brown did that whole thing about or whichever celebrity it was. What?
Oh, I thought you were talking about these hoes ain't loyal. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it was some celebrity that said he didn't want to date people. He didn't want to date females because if they wear weave.
Kodak Black. Was that Kodak Black that said something like that?
No.
Was it Kodak Black? Okay.
Kodak Black is in love with Carisha. Whatever, not JT. I think he in love with JT. But
I don't even know who that is.
Anyways, basically what I'm saying is I think celebrities, they be like if you start acting like a hoe in public, they gonna put you on a shade room and they gonna talk about you. And vice versa. If a dude say something or get caught cheating, you're gonna be put on blast. I don't think celebrities get. I don't think that they
but
get away.
Do we care?
Do they care? They probably don't care, but
like Kim Kardashian, she's been around the industry, similar to like what Lori Harvey's done. Kim
Kardashian probably has had a lot of therapy.
And not only that, she has never had a problem finding someone to marry her. But she's also been the butt of the jokes for the last 15 years. So when we're talking about people getting away with stuff, What are we really talking about?
She does not have the stigma that regular Jane Smith women would have. You
That's
can't be
Yes, she does. I think
what
so.
are we, the reason that we're
to
talking
the point
about
where to the point where it's affecting your, what do they call that? Not your marketability, your somebody wanting, people's desire to want to be with you.
Well,
If you sleeping with every dude that work at Publix, then that's a little different.
I don't think so. I think that I don't think no. It's I mean Kim Kardashian and whoever else was who was doing porn before or who has like a porn video, like everybody's always going to remember that. Like most Kim Kardashian conversations, even though she's dating Kanye West now, people still bring up her past, like, oh yeah, well, she started off, and so I think celebrities, they get it just as bad. I mean,
to me, it's just all about.
But go ahead.
It's a couple things here before we move on. One, Boosie is like 45. It shouldn't matter what he thinks about a 25-year-old doing anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Why?
Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Stop listening to Boosie about things. That's really should be the mantra. Shout out to Boosie. He's a legend. I don't care about him, and I don't really care as far as his subject matter on this. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what?
Since we are talking about Lori Harvey, it does give me another opportunity to share this clip.
Was that Lori Harvey?
Yes, it was her. So yes, amen. So, so not only that, right? Two, we live in the real world, man. Like, you could be a quote unquote, because I may not believe in this, but you can be a promiscuous woman sleeping with 7 men at the call center, right? There's gonna be 8 through 15 men at the same call center waiting for you, and there's gonna be 16 through 20 who still want you to be their significant other. We see this all of the time. We've seen this.
I don't believe it.
No, it's a fact. Like, I've seen this since we were young. There's always someone who's willing to take it to the next level with a young lady because they see something else in her. Like, no matter what the quote unquote public perception is, women do not have issues getting men at any point in time, no matter what they do. And we know this.
I mean,
at no point in time does an attractive woman just not become desirable to men.
What's the key word?
What?
Attractive.
There we go. Play the clip.
So, 1, and then 3, to answer Boosie's other rant, I don't think I don't ever want to be the guy that, I do think relationships have tough times, but for him to like kind of go out his way to glorify the woman who quote unquote sticks around with one dude while he's being a fuck up for the majority of their relationship, I don't think that's honorable. Like, that's not as dope as he's making it out to be. Of course, for him it would be, because he may be the one doing the fucking up. But yes, no, it's not to be like, she stuck with him through 20 years of cheating. That's a real one. Nah, she probably needs therapy, and she probably needs to love herself a little bit more if she's doing that shit. So I disagree with that as well.
Well,
but
Mama backed Steve Harvey, so maybe she's on to something. Maybe it's in the genes.
Gang.
So, the apple don't fall from the tree. All right, moving on. Hey, Javonni, what's going on with Biden and the student loans?
Well, pretty much, we've been having this conversation for years, and now we have Biden in office, but the whole conversation about which president or who can cancel student debt loans. And right now, with the legislation that we do have, people are hoping that it can be the Congress that can actually do it. But in a conversation not too long ago, Biden had something to say about canceling some student loans.
Yep.
Can we play the clip?
Loans are crushing my family, friends, and fellow Americans.
Me too.
The American dream
Think
is
I'm
to
kidding.
succeed, but how can we fulfill that dream when debt is many people's only option for a degree? We need student loan forgiveness beyond the potential $10,000 your administration has proposed. We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen. It depends on whether or not you go to a private university or a public university. It depends on the idea that I say to a community, I'm going to forgive the debt, the billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn and schools, my children. I went to a great school. I went to a state school. But is that going to be forgiven rather than use that money to provide for early education for young children who come from disadvantaged circumstances? But here's what I think. I think everyone, and I've been proposing this for 4 years, everyone should be able to go to community college for free. For free. That costs $9 billion, and we should pay for it. And the tax policies we have now, we should be able to pay for it. You spend almost that much money as a break for people who own racehorses. And I think any family making under $125,000 whose kids go to a state university they get into, that should be free.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you finish before I go.
Okay, well, yeah, so pretty much Biden is being pressured to cancel up to $50,000 in student debt. And as we can see in that clip, he's saying no, that won't happen. But there is an option for the $10,000 student loan forgiveness. And of course, everyone who has student loan debt, or in Democrats, maybe even some Republicans are saying that's not enough. So we're just trying to see where it's going to go from there.
All I want to know is if you cancel $10,000 of student loan debt, who gonna pay the remainder of the balance? Because no one else is gonna pay it, because these folks are not going to continue to make decisions between housing and healthcare, or between paying off these student loans with these high interest rates. So his excuse, President Joe Biden's excuse of, well, I don't want to cancel student loan debt for these groups of people, and I want to do that. Listen, man, he could cancel all student loan debt with a stroke of his pen. All of what he's talking about is a bunch of lip service. And I'm hoping that the progressives, and I'm hoping AOC and Representative Ayanna Pressley and the squad and all the Elizabeth Warren, I hope they continue to put his feet to the fire and let him know. Because at first he said, he didn't think, afterwards he said that he didn't think he can do that. And then people started explaining. What I don't like is when Biden says things and then he backtracks, and then we have a whole bunch of people that come out behind him making excuses for him. He said he was going to give us, hey, if you want $2,000, make sure you elect those 2 Democratic senators in Georgia. Guess what? People elected those 2 Democratic senators in Georgia, and Biden still owed me money. And he talking about, nah, it wasn't 2,000, it was 14,000. See, that's what when we talk about the Judas Effect, that's you turning your backs on the people, or stabbing the people in the back who supported you for president. There are smarter people who knew what you were all about, like myself, but the people that did support you, who you are saying and making these promises to, and then all of a sudden you're just like, oh, well, I'm not going to do exactly what I say I'm going to do. I mean, it's almost like believing a stripper who tells you that you're the only one that tells you all these sweet things just to get the money out your pocket. And so Biden, in this first 100 days, has become that political stripper who's basically told all these people all these sweet nothings and these things and whispered in our ear just to get your vote. And then at the end of the dance, you're like, so what's up with all that stuff you was talking about? And he's like, nah, I was just kidding.
My thing is, for the most part, everything that people have been criticizing Biden for are none of the things that he ran on. Biden never ran on $50,000 college debt cut. He said 10,000. He's always said 10,000. Always. Now, I'm okay, and I'm super okay with us being like, all right, well, now that you're here, let's get this fit. Like, it's a way. There's a path to get the $50,000 done. Let's get it done. I understand that Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren said, listen, they have legislation that can go directly to you to get it done. So I'm okay with holding his feet to the fire. Additionally, I'm okay with, like, even with the when it comes to, let's say, the $2,000 checks, we all want the money. I want the money more than anybody. But I understand that when he was talking about the like when he was saying, if you elect these two people, you'll get the $2,000. He started campaigning on that before we even got the 600. When we got the 600, he made it very clear that, okay, this is what we need to do is an amendment to the bill. Now you got the 600. Now we need to amend the bill itself to be 2,000. Therefore, you're gonna get 1,400. Like, these are things that he said. So for people to,
a lot of people say no about no amendment, bro.
Huh? It's yeah. I'm telling you, it's a bill because you have to do the bill amendment. So now, and of course, now what they're really trying to do is do a completely different corona relief package along with the amendment to get more money to the people that need them. So listen, I'm okay with holding people's foot to the fire. I do think that we do have to be very careful of saying that he is not doing what he said that he was going to do for things that he never said that he was going to do. Because I do think that can be disingenuous. Now, if he's not doing the things that we feel that he should be doing as constituents, I completely agree with that. To say that he is not doing what he said he would do, I think is a little bit misleading. And one, and then two, it hasn't even been 30 days. The majority of things that he said that he was going to do within the 30 days via executive order, it's been done. He did it within the first 10 days. And we understand that, unfortunately, those protections weren't for quote unquote Black Americans, which they weren't specifically. I understand that. But at the same time, the things that he said that he was going to stop, the things that he said that he was going to overdo, he has done them via EO. So to me, I always take someone at face value, you know? But that being said, I think it's just only interesting because he's getting a lot of heat, and he should. Like I said, I want everyone's foot to be held to the fire, even by people who didn't vote for him, because I'm under the impression that politicians, regardless of if I voted for you or not, if I'm your constituent, I have the right, and we have the right to demand shit from you. I don't care if I went and casted a vote for you, you still work for me, right?
But I don't believe that. I don't believe, like, with Biden, I don't believe it's just like, oh, Biden, he didn't say 50,000 specifically, so we can't really hold him to that. Dude, when he got in office, he didn't know, the people got him that majority, right? So the stakes changed, right? Once we got you the majority in the House, once you got the majority in the Senate, and you really don't have anybody blocking you as far as pushing your agenda for the most part. So when we're talking about, these are things that needed to be pushed in by the Democratic Party, which he's the leader of, right? These are agenda items that needed to be pushed in or pushed to the forefront to be like, let's get this done, right? I agree. Being the Democrat, right? With no opposition really to getting this done, and you have Schumer and Elizabeth Warren like, $50,000. It's disingenuous to be like, well, first, the way he came at the lady was like, well, I'm not going to get that done. He has when he was, even the way he talked to Black people after he got elected, it's very much like, oh, this is what I'm not going to do, right? And afterwards, for him to state, well, I don't know. He didn't think that he could do it, and Elizabeth Warren had to correct him. So he's over there grasping at straws, where really what he really should do is just be like, this is a no-brainer. Let me just check it off. Because what he did talk about is economics, right? And he talked about economic deprivation and the fact that it's a pandemic and stuff. And I know he's been extending the student loan forgiveness and extending the federal relief programs for unemployment. However, student loan has been something that's crippling, and it transcends race, it transcends all that stuff. So the fact that you can, with a flick of his pen, he can cancel it, and the fact that he's like, nah, I'm not going to do 50, I'm going to do 10. knowing that the average student loan debt is way above $10,000.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't do it. I'm not. No one's disagreeing with that. He should do it.
No, but what I don't
saying
like
that
is how people try to
say that he's
for
lying.
buying.
Like, it's like, do we want him, if he's saying here telling you in your face, this is what I am gonna do, this is what I'm not gonna do, right? And then if you were to say something different or coddle you, I would say, see, there go politician.
But here's the thing:
I'm not
as a politician, the people, your stakeholders are the people who put your ass in there. So when you're telling
nobody disagrees that he shouldn't wipe it out.
No. What I'm saying, I'm talking about
he's lying is a problem to me.
No.
Not lying.
What I'm saying is when you present it, if I helped you get somewhere or a job, I'm your stakeholder. I'm the people. I got you to these votes. And you then, after you get in there and I tell you, hey, this is what we want you to do for me, you then turn around and talk about, well, I ain't going to do that, and have this kind of bravado about yourself. That's disrespectful. Not
it's
only
not
that,
a turnaround, though.
Huh?
It's not a turnaround. He's never changed his position.
So no. I'm not. Okay, I'm venturing off from the student. I'm venturing off of the student loan debt, and more so about how he talked to those black dignitaries about when they said, "Hey, we want you to do something pertaining to these race soldiers," and he basically told them to go to hell. And I'm paraphrasing, basically like, "This is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to use these executive orders." We just seen, and the reason people are sensitive to it, we just seen Trump use all these executive orders. So people are more hypersensitive to the power of what executive orders what you can and can't do. And so when you have the constituents, the majority of the constituents who have put you into office and supported you, who are in favor of student loan debt, more so than your rinky-dink $10,000 that you're proposing, then you as a politician got to read the room and make adjustments to your policy instead of being indignant and stubborn and saying, nah, this is what I'm going to do. Because if that's the case, you ain't no better than the dude we just get kicked out of there. Am I wrong? You're supposed to be, okay, so you're supposed to be the Democratic president with the Democratic majority that people worked hard for. You still owe us $1,400. And you're talking about, oh yeah, not only am I going to give you the $1,400, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that I ain't gonna do this $2,000 because I'm worried about Harvard and all these people with student loan debt. You worried about them? Worry about the poor people or the people who are the middle class that got your ass in office the first time. That's the majority, and to me, that's who his priority should be.
It should, and like I said, nobody's disagreeing with that. I think we just have to be very, very, very careful of how we frame things. You can't call someone a liar who didn't lie. You can hold someone accountable for not doing what he should do as his job, which I agree with, everybody agrees with, but you can't sit here and say he's not doing what he said he would do, because that's a completely different ball game at this point. And then I just think it's funny because I have the whole 4 years Trump was in office, I have never heard anybody ask him for anything. The whole 4 years, nothing, literally nothing.
That's a lie. People have asked, yes, the people are like, yo, can you not lock our kids up in cages? Can you not have these discriminatory policies internationally, foreign and domestic? Can you not sit there and tear gas and send out dog whistles and stuff like that? People have asked him, and he basically gave him an ass to kiss. So Trump is not the bar. So you'll never get nowhere with me thinking that Biden, all he needs to do is reach the Trump bar.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, like I said, even if, of course, nobody voted for Trump here, but we're still his constituents. What I'm saying is to go from asking someone to do nothing really, because even if you could say, all right, we wanted him to do this X, Y, and Z, we didn't ask him for no legislature. There was nothing that was pushed to him that we expected. But going from that till, you have 20 days to do every single thing that you asked for during the campaign, and some things that you didn't ask for. Because it hasn't even been a month.
That's not what people are saying. But I'm just saying that's not exactly what they're saying. You know what? That's the same. But that is the same
25
excuse.
Days, and you haven't canceled student loans. This is the argument right now.
Right. Well, hey, how about? Well,
welcome to Two Niggas Hollering.
Right.
Thank you, Javonni.
People, the other ways, and Alan did mention it a little bit, but the other ways that we could possibly have our student loans canceled. One of those ways being, of course, through a bill legislation, like it'll have to go through the House and the Senate. They'll have to take it up, pass it. And that is definitely probably the least likely way I think that it'll pass. The other option to have this student loan cancellation is they could put it through the stimulus package. So, and Alan, I think you also kind of mentioned that one.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that one as well. And then finally, they can try to pass it through the reconciliation process. Since Senator Bernie Sanders is the budget chair.
Yeah.
So that's also another option. But yeah, so either it gets done through the president or Congress members have to step in.
Yes, and Congress is
realistically speaking,
so reliable.
How long should we give Biden to make this happen?
What? Oh, he's within his first to cancel all student loan debt?
No, I mean right now I think phase 1 is 10, phase 2 is 50, and then
nah, I'm good with that hustle bag. We are not doing this incremental change bullshit that they keep pushing out on us. Now, when you have the authority to do the right thing right now, like you already have the moratorium on where you're not having interest rates. You're already saying that you can't do the that you're extending the forgiveness. So just go ahead and do it. You know that this is something in the pandemic. You know it's something that's crippling most Americans that they're having to deal with. So why don't you go ahead and do it? Because guess what? When it came to them Wall Street bankers and them bailouts, you wasn't really talking about, well, we don't really, that's the thing that government likes to do when it comes to our money, right? You weren't talking about all this whole, well, we don't want to bail them out because they're that successful and they had this and that. No, you just did it because it was the best thing for the economy. So all people are saying is use the same standard of the bailout for the American people that you do for the corporate and the wealthy and the 1%.
So what's the timetable?
1 year.
Fair.
If he don't
I'm
do
just
it,
trying to get to some fairness. We are on day 20 of his presidency, and people want to guillotine him.
No,
I said 2022.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, 1 year, 2020. Yeah, 2022.
That's fine. The trending topic on social media today is Joe Budden is lying. And I'm like, what are we doing here right now?
Joe Budden is lying. It's the Judas Effect.
Joe Biden is lying. It's like, I'm like,
Joe Budden. It's the Judas Effect, man. People is hypersensitive. We're gonna talk about that. Listen, I thought you said Joe Budden. I was like, damn, really, Joe Budden?
He be lying too. That's a different conversation.
Well, speaking of lying, what's going on in the NYC with Amy Cooper and a follow-up story that we had?
Well, in a story of whiteness, Amy Cooper, who we know was arrested and put in big trouble because of the fact that she called a gentleman claiming that, she called the police claiming that a gentleman was harassing her. The gentleman turned out to be a bird watcher. Everything went on camera. The gentleman's sister filmed it. This happened a couple of months back, as a lot of people know. Eventually it came a huge story. She even got a bill proposed to be put in her name, stating that if you call 911 under false pretenses, that you could face some sort of penalty. Of course, the actual penalty itself ranges. Long story short, it's been a long year, and essentially she is now off scot-free after passing quote unquote racial bias. Now, I guess one thing to note is that the gentleman that she did call the police on, eventually, while this was at the height of the story, he was just kind of done with it. He didn't really feel like dealing with the press. He didn't really feel like dealing with the police. So he wasn't actively pursuing the case. So it was up to the state to kind of issue you her punishment. So she did finish racial bias, and and that's that. So Amy Cooper, who, like I said, she may be immortalized by having some bills named after her, is legally scot-free after taking some Zoom classes about Black people.
Sounds about right. And this is just another example of white privilege, and it's another example of why there will be more Karens in our society that will continue to racially target and harm Black people because they know that they can get away with it. So basically, what she was tasked with was they dropped her charges because she took a racial sensitivity class, which is BS. Because for people like that who I'm not saying that people can't learn about race and understand their bias, but when people or white women like that, when they scream to their lungs like, "Oh my goodness," like they're being harmed by a black man, they've been doing that for years. Emmett Till got killed because of something like that, right? And so, if they can continue to do those type of things and not be held accountable, you're only leaving the door up to be for copycats. And so, I don't believe in cops, or when cops talk about they just need training. I don't believe that you can train the white supremacy out of somebody's heart. Like you can't train that away with some classes. So adverse behavior needs adverse consequences. So if you do something, cause and effect. And what she needs to do after her betrayal of this man, not betrayal of what she did of being accusatory, falsely accusing this man, she needs to be held accountable for those actions and not just have legislation, because this only inspires more people, similar to the girl who tackled the young Black boy in the store because of the cell phone. We're going to just get more copycats because nobody's going to jail and suffering consequences. Now, imagine if there was a Black woman who had falsely accused the white man of doing that stuff. Do you think that she would have just had racial sensitivity training and a slap on the wrist? I think not. But we live in a society. Where we have white privilege, and the society we live in is global white supremacy, and this is just one of the aspects of it.
Facts.
Yep. So, moving on, Javonni, you had anything to add? We have the next clip. It's a new segment that we have on the Soapboxx Podcast. It's called "What Would You Do?" Speaking of white privilege, Javonni, what's our next story?
Well, this one won't make it any better, but so we have this video clip that I guess we would just like to show you. It's better to see it than to talk about it.
Yes, and for our listening audience on our streaming services, thank you for watching, especially those overseas who are watching the Soapboxx, listening to the Soapboxx Podcast. You will be able to see the clip on YouTube, but we will try to illustrate it for you and articulate it for you as we go. Taking care of we have a Black woman who's a caretaker who's taking care of this elderly white woman, and this elderly white woman is going up to her while she's washing dishes, and she spits in this Black caretaker's face. And ask her, does she want more? Now, there are some people who have said, well, she's elderly, she maybe have dementia. And so the Black lady doesn't react, simply wipes the spit or the food off of her face. Oh, and she does it again. She does it twice. So my question to you, and I'm going to start with you, Javonni, what would you do if you were in that situation?
I would have sat the old lady down and
the patience.
Put her in the room, maybe close the door, just kind of, because she is old, and I have family members who are caretakers, both same thing. And when old people are like that, they are reacting off of what they remember. So while that lady may have dementia, she treated some Black person that way, to where she still felt like, this is my role. This is what I do. This is how I treat people. Because, I mean, dementia doesn't mean you all of a sudden start hating somebody. that you never hated before. Like dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever it could be selective memory. But I've never seen it, or I've never heard anybody define it as like a new memory to where you have like a hatred towards a certain thing. But yeah, so what would I do? Yeah, so that's what I would do. I mean, I probably would ask for a different assignment, or that lady, she may be used to it. That might be a lady who she's always taken care of, and she probably wanted to record the video for the last time, maybe to show the family, like, this is what I'm dealing with, so I'm going to go ahead and quit, because I know she's still not working there, and she posted that video on YouTube, and the family must all have, her family must have all passed away, because I know they don't see that video on YouTube, and they still letting the black lady take care of her. So I think that was just like a, let me go ahead and get this proof, and y'all gonna have to pay me out. And if y'all don't pay me out, I'm gonna expose your mama. And they must have didn't pay her out because she exposed the mom.
Alan, what would you do?
I don't know. I think everything leading up to that situation lets me know that is a regular occurrence.
Yo, what you want to drink?
Like everything I'm seeing, like from her non-reaction to just the camera being up at that angle, tells me that that's something that she's used to. Unfortunately, I couldn't necessarily tell you. I couldn't tell you what I would do in that situation, because that situation has advanced far past where I can see myself tolerating. You know what I'm saying? So so at that point, like I said, I feel like she's just been in this situation time and time again, and she just kind of needed, like Javonni said, just kind of some proof to be like, yo, this is why I'm out. This is what's happening to me. So, you know, shout out to her. I mean, I don't necessarily, I don't know her situation, but obviously people who are willing to tolerate stuff like that, to me, they have like a bigger goal in mind. And when I say a bigger goal, I mean financially, professionally, or like they're in a situation where they just can't afford to lose that position. And, you know, I'm sure that's extremely hard for her as well. So shout out to her. And it's disgusting. Like Javonni said too, I just feel like that's probably just reactionary. Like that's just something that she probably came up doing or seen her ancestors doing, spitting on black people.
Ancestors.
Yeah, and it's like it's just something that's like embedded in her. So it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I really don't. I can't call it.
You guys are that has been a beautiful soliloquy of what you guys would have done or whatever. And I don't know what I would have done. But I can tell you one thing. I wouldn't have done this after. My ass would be dancing with this old lady, drinking no wine and backing my ass up on her after you posted this clip. I wouldn't be doing this. Listen, do you understand how dehumanizing that is to be spit on like that, and you at work and you wiping your face and she spit on you not once but twice?
That was crazy.
You are very true, Javonni, that she probably remembers treating people like that. And it's so crazy to me because when it comes to white people, they can lose all sorts of functionalities and stuff when they get elderly, but that racism apparently is the last thing to go.
It's the default setting.
Huh? It's the default setting. Look, I don't know my name. I don't know my address. I can't drive no more. But I do know that I'm still superior to black people, and I should dehumanize another black person. And when we talk about the Judas Effect, we talking about this black woman. No job to me is that important. And granted, yes, you may not know someone's financial situation and all other good stuff. She may have kids that she needs to take care of. And if she did what Javonni said, which was take video of it to secure the bag, unless she's going to expose somebody, that would have made sense. But she posted the first video And then she posted the second video afterwards. So you a new fool. And so this is one of those things where I guess we should just, what would you do if that was me? If that was someone like that watching that, I guess we should just mind our business, because that's how you want to be treated and be degraded in order for you to get a paycheck like that. To me, that's disgusting. I think the second video, seeing the first video, the second video is more disgusting to me. I don't know about y'all. Seeing you dancing and and whining and playing with this lady, Javonni was gonna lock her in a room and lock the door and not let her out.
I have a question, and I guess I'm trying to find like a politically correct way to say this question.
We're not a politically correct podcast. Say what you got to say.
Well, no, just out of respect of all of my, specifically my Black immigrants, right? Mm-hmm. If she come here, because a lot of times those are the type of jobs that people who are coming from abroad take, and we know like the sacrifices that people are making just to get into the U.S. and stay in the U.S. and have to get money under the table. How much do y'all think that survival plays into her just turning the other cheek, for a lack of a better term? Like, do you think this happens with a person who may not be in, not to assume that she's in an immigration situation, but maybe someone who doesn't have that many other options as far as feeding their family and just maybe making their life better for not even them. Maybe they have a little one at home and they just feel like being in this country is the only way. So if they have to take, so maybe the juice is worth the squeeze to them, right? And also, if we're talking about someone who's not necessarily from the U.S., even though racism and white supremacy happens everywhere, how do we maybe feel just maybe the 100%, maybe not them getting the full context of how the history of just us being spit on that casually comes into play when someone decides to just psychologically think that that's okay or not that big of a deal enough for them to quit. Although I feel like someone spitting on me is universal disrespect, but I do think it's definitely deeper for us here as African Americans dealing with a white.
Listen, man, ain't no currency that would allow anyone in my family, most of my family are Trinidadian. So no, I'm not a foundational Black American. However, and most of my family is from Trinidad, right? However, my mother and my grandmother actually worked in the caregivers industry. My mother too, right? And I'm not going to speak for my mother, but I'm just going to know how I was raised. I'm almost certain that my mom would have came home early that day. I'll just say that. That would have been my mom's last day. And I'm thinking my grandmother, who was also an evangelist, let's just say she would have laid prayer hands on that lady and exorcised that demon out. And then she would have came home early that day.
I would have said something too, though, but I guess I figured that the lady just didn't say it.
She had all she needed on the camera.
Yeah, she was just, I feel like she really was just trying to get what she needed on the camera, because now off camera,
once that camera shut off, it's on and popping.
I was gonna say, like, who's to say that she didn't do anything when the cameras went off? We just needed the proof, and then she could have, roughed up in the back.
Seeing her with a glass of wine and dancing with her, she ain't do nothing. She just kept it pushing, because whatever check she was getting was worth all that. But you know what? Who knows? She could be robbing that little white lady, bro. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
but
it ain't worth it. It ain't. No.
So that was what would you do? We're gonna have other segments about things that we would like to see, or things that happen, to put yourself in that type of situation. But I do want to talk about and expand on the Soapbox Nation live conversation that Javonni and I had yesterday, which was a really dope conversation, if we may say so ourselves, talking about the manifestation of love. And you can listen to that on our Instagram, Soapboxx Podcast with 2X, or you can listen to it on our streaming services, And we talked about the movie. Well, we talked about the manifestation of love. And we talked about people in your circle. And which brings me to the movie that came out, which was Judas and the Black Messiah. Now, I don't know how many of y'all seen the movie. Show of hands. Anybody seen the movie? To its completion. You did see it. Okay, you did see it. Y'all did see it. Okay, great. So if you haven't seen it, I was like, I don't know who did the homework, so I was just I was like, so look. All right, so good. All right, so y'all did see the movie. So basically, if you haven't seen the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, the story is about Fred Hampton, Chairman Fred Hampton, who was the chairman, organizer of in the Black Panther Party in the 60s, who was sold out by an FBI informant named William O'Neill, and he basically sold out Fred Hampton, which led to his assassination because he was an informant for the FBI and the United States government, and Hotel Pro and J. Edgar Hoover murdered Fred Hampton and took one of our at 21 years old. And so we said something on our Soapboxx Nation Live. We talked about who's sitting at your table, right? And when we talk about being successful, a lot of times we want to have, you ever see an NFL draft, how you have all these people when the player gets drafted and everybody's around, and there's just like all the family, friends and stuff. So the uncomfortable conversation to have is that if you want to reach a certain level of success in your life, you can't keep everybody with you, right? Because not everybody who was with you in the beginning is going to want to actually see you succeed. So what I want everybody to do on this podcast, and I really just wanted to have some real talk with y'all. I want people, when I saw the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, I didn't really like the movie for a multitude of reasons, by the way. I didn't think it was a biopic of Fred Hampton that he deserved, even though his family did kind of consult on the movie. It was more about the glorification of an FBI informant and trying to humanize it for the audience to sympathize with his situation of how he turned his back and betrayed not only the Black Panther Party or his race, but someone who was a charismatic leader of our time that was really trying to just build a coalition, build power of people and inspire people to want better for themselves. I didn't like the movie. However, what I took away from that is I told myself as an organizer and activist, I said, you know what? I always keep my circles small anyway. But I tell people and implore people to keep your circles small and then cut it in half. Because you can't have a whole bunch of people around. You can't share your dreams with everybody. You can't share your visions with everybody. You got to make sure that the people who are around you are actual contributors to your success. And that when you set a table, or God sets a table for you for your success or your destiny or your purpose, that the people, and I'm to steal a line from Javonni, the people who are around you need to pour into you and not just be sitting at your table with a knife and a fork, right? So, because everybody who's at your table, if they're just there with a knife and a fork, just ready to eat and ready to take from you, then eventually when there's nothing left on the table, guess what? You're going to be the person that's on the fucking menu, right? And so if we learn anything from Fred Hampton and we learn anything from Judas and the Black Messiah, is to be cognizant of your surroundings and the people that you have around you. Because if you show, they ever hear the old adages, if you show me your friends, I'll show you where you're going, right? We look at the trial of Trayvon Martin, of George Zimmerman. When George Zimmerman, when he was on trial, the last person that Trayvon Martin spoke to was, I forget that young sister's name. What was that lady's name? Trayvon's friend. Hold on. Trayvon's friend. Her name was Rachel. Her name was Rachel Gentel, right? It was Rachel Gentel. Rachel Gentel wasn't necessarily the most educated woman. She talked a lot. of slang or whatever, but they judged Trayvon Martin and his character based upon how she acted on the stand, right? And so I want to implore everybody, I know I'm on a bit of a rant, but I want to implore everybody to say a couple things. What do the people that you have around you, what do they say about you, right? What do they represent? Because when you have people who are around you or they're confidant to you, people look at that as a reflection of yourself. You see what I'm saying? So we have this podcast, right? Everybody who's on this podcast in their right way is a go-getter, right? And I've said it plenty of times. They push me in their own individual ways, right? So you can't be, and I would say this even for guys who are fathers, you can't want to be a dad or a successful father if all you hanging around is a bunch of deadbeats, right? If all you know, if you're around, you can't be around a whole bunch of deadbeat fathers and then you be like, oh, but I'm a good dad, because what they do is a reflection of you. So when we talk about the Judas Effect, it's not necessarily people. I think we need to look at ourselves. What are we doing that we are betraying ourselves and our purpose and our destiny, right? Because sometimes we are afraid to let things go, let people go, and that is blocking the people that God wants to place into your life in order for you to become successful. So I hope everybody, it's not my moral of the story, but I hope, and I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because it's really on my mind since our conversation, Javonni. I really wanted everybody to really do a diagnostic of the people who are around them, who's pouring into them, and also who is going to essentially help them get to the next level. And it's not about just putting people around you who can do for you, and pouring into people, as Javonni will attest to, can come in a variety of ways. It's not just financially. It could be what? Words of affirmation we talked about. It can be a kind word. It can be even a phone call, just saying hello, hey, how you doing? Checking in with somebody. But if every time you're around people, they just want to hear it's one-sided, then you need to check who you have around you. And so I just wanted to leave everybody with that little note. And I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts about what did y'all think about the movie, and ultimately about any advice for any of our younger listeners about the type of company they may keep?
Alan, or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
I think that the movie, of course, was a clear picture of like what you're saying, watch the company that you keep, but also that there are people in your life who are private investigators, and the Messiah in general terms knows that. And a lot of times we know that too. We know that we have kept people in our lives who are secretly plotting or hating on us, or we've noticed when they are not happy for us, when we reach a certain level of success. And we as leaders feel like because we are leading the people, that means all the people. But the Judas and the Black Messiah movie, I feel like it kind of allowed for on the other side of the plot of the story, besides the plot of the story, the other side, for me, it helped me to be a stickler to the fact that even when you are for the people, it's a very thin line between if I'm gonna die for the people or if I'm just for the people. If my message isn't to die for the people, I don't need no FBI niggas around me. I don't need nobody that's gonna try to bring me down based off of the hate and the jealousy that they have around me. Now, if that's the message that I have, that's the platform that I'm putting out in the air, like all is welcome, okay, that's one thing. But if you just have general relationships and general friendships with people, and you still stuck in relationships that no longer serve you, those relationships have to be let go, because eventually you will get hurt in the process. And it may not be death, or it may not be, I'll just leave it at that. It may not be death, but it can be very traumatic. It could be one day, as much as you've given to that person, you realize that they were using you, or they never really wanted to see you happy. And then when you really are at a place to celebrate yourself or be in a happy place, you cannot celebrate it with them. And your love may have been genuine, but when you find out that the love that they had was not genuine, it can do something to you. It can traumatize you mentally, and make you think different things about yourself. Like, well, was I dumb? Or why is God putting me in these situations, when really a lot of situations are revealed to us very early on, but we ignored them and accept people because we believe them. And they also showed that a couple of times, like William O'Neill, he was caught a couple of times as far as being an FBI informant, but people overlooked that because of what he said. And so I feel like we really have to pay attention to what you do and how you act in certain situations, especially if we're just talking on general terms as the company that we keep. So it's a really effed up situation, especially at the end when I really was. I had to go watch the documentary, because I was shook when he said, people will judge me based off of I get not just that one situation. Noble has a drum now. Noble. Wait 1 second. When he said that people are going to judge him based off of not just what he did to the Black Panther Party, but I guess his circumstances, that what he was put in. And I think that the opposite side, people, we do use that as an excuse, like, oh, well, I betrayed this person because my mama betrayed me, or I'm in this situation, I stole from you because I needed to feed my family. And so I think we have to take into account the type of situations that people are in, the environment that they grow up in, and we just have to be very, very careful, because for him to go back to that as a reason why he felt like he was he had to be against his own people, because he also felt trapped. Like, I'm a Black man, I'm up against the FBI, so it was either me or them. And people are like that in your lives. Like, either I'm gonna stick with you because I know you're gonna be somebody powerful in the future, or I'm gonna hang out with my no deadbeat friends over here. So I'm gonna just stick with you to see if you make it, because the other side, my other life ain't really too good anyways. And so it's just kind of like, you just gotta really try to pay attention. And
you did say something. I'm gonna toss it to you, Alan. Javonni, you did say something on that podcast that we did talk about. I think you said something about that sometimes people aren't really. I believe it was you that said that. You said sometimes people aren't there to pour into you. Sometimes people are just spectators.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and I thought I alluded to that at the very beginning, that people are spectators. I mean, people, and I feel like we know it. But here's another thing, and I feel like I can say this with you all, because we are all leaders, and I have come to the conclusion that as a leader, it is not my duty to figure out why another person doesn't reciprocate the same energy as me. Because as a leader, I was built that way. And I've accepted that role, that God has allowed me to have a certain amount of strength in areas that other people do not have. And I see that even in the Judas and the Black Messiah, Fred Hampton, he realized, like, he's a leader because that was a gift that was given to him. And he didn't expect that necessarily from the people, but he was for the people. So I just feel like people who are spectators in your life, I mean, you can deal with them from a distance, but you don't have to have them all up in your business. But at the same time, like, you don't have to treat them how they treat you, because you are a leader and you really have to embrace that role, and thank God for that role, that you're not a follower, or that you're not a sellout, and you're not a, you know, fold if things get, you know, funny. And I'm okay with knowing that I can pour into certain people, even if they cannot pour into me, because like I said, like, they don't have what I have. It is what it is. Like, everybody, it's different. And once you realize that about certain relationships, you take that weight off of you. You know how people say, how another person feels about you is not your responsibility. That's a very true statement. Or how another person treats you has everything to do with them and not you. Those are true statements. How a person treats you has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them and how they see themselves and in the way that they want to treat you. So, as my cup says, pour into yourself.
Right.
It's my constant reminder. It's my constant reminder.
Alan,
did I answer your question?
You did. Alan, tossing it to you, Alan. What are your thoughts, one, on the movie, and the topic of the conversation, which is the Judas Effect, about the company you keep and who's sitting at your table?
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the movie, of course, I was extremely pissed at the end. A couple of the issues that a lot of people have with the movie, I didn't necessarily have. A lot of people, from what I was reading, and a couple of my peers, they were they thought it was going to be like a Fred Hampton movie, but I always knew that wasn't the case. So a lot of people dismissed it once they found out it wasn't a Fred Hampton film per se. And then also, I don't subscribe the fact that exposure is necessarily glorification. I don't think that the fact that this person's, and I wouldn't even say POV, because it was like 50-50 point of view, but the fact that he was highlighted through half of this movie, I don't think that it glorified him. And I don't even think for 95% of the movie, until the very, very, very end, it really humanized him. Like, the movie started off with him being a piece of shit. You could say he kind of got humanized because of the race issue, of course. But throughout the rest of the movie, it just kind of showed him being a snake. It showed him being an asshole. It showed him maybe being a backstabber. It showed what he was up against and the good that the party was trying to fight, and him literally being the inside opposition. So I wouldn't necessarily say nothing really about the movie that they were showing on his end was honorable. Like, it didn't show him being a family man. It only showed him having a little bit of empathy towards the end, which I had an issue with, was when I don't want to spoil the movie, but just towards the end when he was having that final meeting, and then you can kind of see some emotion coming out of him. And that actually made me more mad. That made me madder than ever.
Same here.
That's the part that really pissed me off. So I can understand that in that moment, some sort of humanization. I really hated it. I really and this won't be a movie spoiler, because this is a well documented. The gentleman committed suicide. To be honest, I needed the satisfaction of the movie showing him blowing his brains out. That would have been the only thing that would have made that would have made me very, 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 very happy. So, but other than that, man, I thought that, I do think that the movie is important, because you have to know how deep this shit goes and how deep the government went to assassinate our leaders. I think it's an important film, and it's important because, it's not necessarily, and this is also a lesson just in general, like, the person who may be pulling the strings may not even be the person in front of your face. The person in front of your face that's doing you wrong, or they could just be a vessel of something deeper that's going on that you may not know of. So it's like, yeah, in the surface, it's like you have this brother who was trying to do everything for his people, and then you had a person right next to him that wouldn't have even thought to go the lengths that he did to hurt him without there being the fucking president of the United States to carry out that mission. And then so for me, I just got the lesson of, you know, a lot of times things aren't surface level and you always have to go deeper, especially when you're dealing with people. And a lot of people, when they're dealing with you, the issues that they have with you is not even an extension of your personal relationship. It's an extension of some other shit that they got going on. So yeah, I mean, also the Judas Effect. You always got to watch the people closest to you, and also you got to listen to women because Shorty was gonna blow his brains out very early in the film. And very, very early in the film, and ironically enough, when it also got time, you know, to doing the gun work, he ended up fleeing and she ended up getting busy. So listen to black women as well. So that too. But it was just a lot of layers. But all in all, like I said, the movie pissed me off. But I do think it was important. I think it was important. And I think, like I said, everybody got to know how deep this shit goes, man. It's not, and all skin, you know, all kinfolk, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Ain't that the truth? Listen, man, I think, you know, as an activist, I think people look at the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, and they think, oh man, that was really horrible what they was doing in the 60s. That shit happens today. And it don't just happen on a national level with, you know, we're not talking just about Colin Kaepernick. We're talking about a local level. Like, nigga, we're talking about me. Like, cops follow me. They follow my social media, surveillance my social media. Always looking, I mean, jobs that I have, calling my employer just to try to get me terminated and all sorts of surveillance type stuff. Crazy. It's about me talking about police accountability and doing the things that I'm doing. You look at the activists that were in Ferguson or who protested Michael Brown. You have all these stories of activists who are in random, they just wind up dead or in burning. One guy was in a burning car with his hands tied, like the judge who was in New York, I believe, that was just killed, and they said that she committed suicide, right? So we are seeing these things that are still prevalent today, and we have to be mindful of the people, not only the people that we have around us, but who we give access to, not just in the social justice work that we do, who we give access to in our life, yo. Like, and I was telling, when we were talking to Javonni, I was telling them, like, yo, not everybody deserves to have access to you. Like, you have to uphold yourself like an exclusive fucking club. And I think in this age of social media, we just allow so much, right? Like, we talked about the whole Boosie, Lawyer Harvey thing. Like, man, what is somebody saying? You know, that shouldn't even be someone's topic of conversation, right? But we put so many things out there for the court of public opinion because we put so many things out there for public consumption. You see what I'm saying? And we don't realize that when we put things out there for public consumption, there are people, not everybody is clapping for you, right? And that's one of the realest things, you know, and I had to come to the realization, even when you're trying to be successful, like your success or the fact that whatever obstacles were in your way that didn't stop you vexes the hell out of somebody. Like somebody is pissed off that you are in the position or the spot. Even if you don't think the spot that you're in is great, someone is pissed off because you got that opportunity. There are haters that are there, and it's just people. But I don't want it to be this mystical type of, you know, the boogeyman type of thing. You got to be paranoid or whatever. No, you just have to develop your level of discernment. I think if people can develop their level of discernment in their lives to realize, you know, what is of your, I'm not even get spiritual, not even what is of God, but what is of your purpose. And if it's not of your purpose, it doesn't really need to be around you or involved. I know as we wrap up, I definitely, when we talk about our moral of the story, I do want to tell y'all this, and I'll let y'all have the last word for the moral of the story. I ended up today doing some work, right? So I'm not really a handyman, but I was putting shit together. And so the TV was on, and I was watching First and 48. I stopped because I was watching First and 48, which is the antithesis of, just talking too damn much, right? And I don't like First and 48 because it makes me feel like I'm on the criminal side. But I keep rooting, like, don't say nothing. Like they're like little Deshaun had the gun and the knife, and they're thinking we just want him to admit it. And I'm like, Deshaun, don't say nothing. Don't say. I'm watching the show. I know he did it, but I'm like, don't say nothing. Don't. And so this one particular story had a situation where these guys were just for a couple $100, they tied this man up and burned him alive. Right, they didn't have nothing on these dudes really. They had the body, but they didn't really know who did it, so they couldn't really pin the damn murder on nobody, right? So what they did was they were talking. Oh man, yo, this person did. They were blaming each other in the separate rooms, like, yo, it was him. He did it. No, he did it. Blaming each other. And who did they get to tell on everybody? A little white girl that they call Snowflake that these niggas had up in the house. Snowflake, the cops came in there, was like, listen, Snowflake, her name was really Rebecca, so it was a Becky. So they said, yo, they already told us that it was you. And they're lying out their ass. They're like, Snowflake, they already told us it was you, so you just need to come clean. And that's all Snowflake needed to be like, no, it wasn't me, it was boop, boop, boop. This is how it happened. Blah, 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 blah. And lo and behold, one of the dudes got 25 years. The other dude got 35 years. And another guy got life in prison for a couple $100.
And Snowflake got a McFlurry.
Snowflake got 6 years of probation. Not a lick of jail time. Not a lick. So I really don't know why I told that story. It just bothered the shit out of me today. Like, I felt like I was rooting for them, even though I know they did wrong, and I know that's what that show does. But it goes back to who the hell you have around your circle, because when the shit hits the fan, you want to make sure that there are people that are actually going to ride with you and your purpose. So that's my moral of the story is do a diagnostic of the people that you have. I'm blessed to have good people around me. I'm blessed to have a good circle. And sometimes you do lose folks, right? Like we had this podcast. We've lost folks that I've cared about and had great relationships with or whatever. But at the end of the day, if there are people who aren't supposed to be sitting at the table for this juncture, then that's okay too. And it's okay to let people go in order for you to get to your destiny. And I think that's ultimately what it's about. So, Javonni, what's your moral of the story?
Moral of the story for me is to be careful of the company that you keep. And of course, to pour into yourself. For those of you who are listening, make sure you visit me on Just Javonni on Instagram, Javonni Hampton on Facebook, but I prefer Instagram because it has a link to my website with all of my self-love tips, my ebook, and some new products that I have out, my Pour Into Yourself mug. And I just released a Just Doing Her journal. So you all check that out and tap into that whole process of loving yourself, and you will be able to see so many different things that you used to tolerate that you no longer will tolerate.
Alan, what's your moral of the story? Thank you. Appreciate that, Javonni.
Oh, wow. The moral of the story for today is there's no such thing as saviors. We all got to do the work for ourselves and for each other. So.
That's what's up. And also, as we are on baby alert, let's just make sure that we all keep Jesse in our prayers and our thoughts, and make sure that she's all right. And hopefully we'll have an update for y'all on the next EP, on the next episode. So for Alan York, for Javonni Hampton, this is TJ Legacy. Hey, We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sticking with us. As far as those who are streaming for us, I know there's a lot of folks that were like, hey, y'all haven't been there in a little while, so we didn't know when they was coming in, so we'll do more advertising and stuff like that. But thank you. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. So for Alan York, for Javonni Hampton, this is the Soapboxx Podcast. And we are out. Peace.